Poloski's. It is I, your King Ginger, a person who cannot run a stream, as well as uh, the magnificent Matt Lind. It's prep school. It's Sunday morning.
Woo.
Yay. Matt, you were talking about you went and saw 3,000 Years of Longing.
Yes. It felt, Danny said, and I agree, it felt a little bit like you saw more of these in like the 80s, and I think she was thinking of like Labyrinth and Princess Bride or whatever, where it's, here's a framing device, some stories within that, and then it kind of goes out of that framing device to interact with it. So it's
kind of like an anthology, but not an anthology.
It really is an anthology of stories about the history of this Jinn played by Idris Elba. And just kind of how he got to where he is when we meet him in the movie. And then there's some stuff after that. And yeah, like I was saying, the trailers didn't do it a ton of favors. And I think also focused like really heavily on some of the effects, which obviously George Miller knows what he's doing when it comes to special effects and integrates them better than just about any other director that I've encountered. But it is still a lot more CG than he usually uses.
Okay.
And so on the face of it, it's like, I don't know what you're doing here. But anyway, I really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. Very well acted. I went and saw it because, it's like, well, okay, it's George Miller, it's Tilda Swinton, it's Idris Elba. Like, even if this is a train wreck, it's going to be an interesting one to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really liked it. It's it's a fantasy romance is really what it boils down to. And
Morning Shaggy.
Morning Shaggy. Yeah, so I'm very glad we went to see it.
Excellent. Well, it's a movie I'm interested in. I know that I was hoping it was going to fall more on the side of Everything All at Once, as far as that entertainment, rather than something not good.
Yeah, it's good. It's a different. It's a slower paced. Like there's some actiony bits and plenty of humor, but it's not Fury Road.
Yeah, I don't need it to be.
No, it's a little bit more, kind of like, yeah, let's just go into this world and kind of hang out, and we're gonna hear some stories from a Jinn, and so it's not, it's fairly, sedately paced, I guess I would say, but it doesn't
subdued. Subdued fantasy.
Yeah.
I read somewhere else. Someone said it's very dreamlike.
Oh, absolutely.
And I was like, oh, that's my jam.
You hit points where you're like, wait, is this actually happening, or is this like something that one of them is imagining? Or
someone also said it has a little bit of like Terry Gilliam to it.
Oh yeah,
without the absurdist comedy.
Yeah, it's not. There's comedy to it, but it's not absurdist. I would definitely, but yeah, I haven't seen a lot of Terry Gilliam's stuff.
You haven't really?
No, I just it's there's so many movies, man.
And now he's kind of turned into a shitbag, so it's really hard to want to watch anything new he does.
Yeah,
I would say I highly recommend. Have you seen Time Bandits?
No, I've heard good things.
Time Bandits is a blast.
I would say this has some similarities in my in my experience anyway to The Adventures of Baron von Munchausen.
I do love that movie.
So
have you seen The Jabberwocky?
I have not.
Oh,
I know it goes Snicker Snack, but
yes. Maybe I'll see if I have those DVDs still around. If I do, I'm just going to loan them to you because you should watch at least those three movies. I feel like are kind of the must-sees in his catalog. Some people would put Brazil in there as well.
Well, I've heard very good things about Brazil. Yes,
Brazil's really good. It's just also really I mean, it is very odd in my opinion, which is good. I mean, you do get a weird cameo from Robert De Niro as like a thief, which is pretty out of the blue and wonderful. Um, but if you like Monty Python humor and you like just visual stimulus, those flicks are, you know, Time Bandits is so good. Oh my god, is it good? David Warner as evil, the personification of evil. It's so fantastic. That movie is just something else.
You
All
can't
right,
go wrong with David Warner, but
you can't. In that movie, just the premise is in itself just, you know, a bunch of little people steal a map of time and just decide to go around robbing things. Sean Connery is in it, and you don't even realize it's him until he takes the helmet off, and you're like, "Oh shit, that Greek
shit.
hero is Sean Connery." That's real cool, man. It's a weird, weird, weird movie.
I was listening to a podcast about Congo, and when Michael Crichton wrote that, it was partly for a chance to work with Sean Connery again. And then by the time the movie actually got made, when Crichton was no longer involved with the actual movie side of it, because when he pitched it, Fox or whoever was like, "Here's $1.5 million. We like your idea. Now go flesh it out or whatever." And then it took 15, 16 years for it to actually get made. And by that point, Crichton was no longer involved in,
When did he work with Connery before that?
I would have to look that up. But that is the reason why Ernie Hudson's character in the movie is basically Sean Connery.
Interesting.
And I'm like, that's insane, and I love it. Where it's like, okay, we have the Sean Connery part. He's not available or isn't interested. Fuck it. Let's just have Ernie Hudson play Sean Connery playing this role.
Jesus, that makes my head hurt. We had 3 people watching, and 2 of them immediately were like, "I'm done. I'm out."
Ernie Hudson said that it was his favorite role.
Wow.
Ever. Because he does get to deliver the line. I can't remember his character's name. He's like, "I'm so and so. I'll be your great white hunter, except I happen to be black."
That's fair.
Um,
did you happen to watch Penny, the first season of, or should I say, the first run of Penny Dreadful?
no, I've heard it's
it's
yeah.
very good. It's very good.
Okay, so they worked to get together on the Great Train Robbery in '78.
Okay.
That was when it was still directing more.
I feel like Timothy Dalton is channeling his best versions of himself and Sean Connery in that series, where he's kind of the great hunter. Also, I love the fact that first season especially is like, Dracula's coming, and then you don't really see Dracula at all at the end.
Oh,
but it's scary as fuck to think these other vampires are lesser vampires. So yeah, that show is it's so good. I loved the 3 seasons, the first of the first run of that show. It was one of those things where I had really hoped it was going to continue. I was glad though when they wrapped it up. They wrapped it up the way they did, and that was it. I have not watched any of the new stuff.
It's good to know when to get out.
Yeah,
and it can be a hard call to make.
Yeah, but that first season is, it's real good. All right, enough. Kind of us just rambling. I haven't seen you in like a week, so yeah, I was like, "Hey, Matt, what's up?" So I wanted to work today on the Oblivion Rally, which is what I was going to kind of work on last week. That I forgot I had a guest, and then we chit chatted for like 3 hours, which was good. It was nice to talk to Michael. I haven't seen him in a while.
Yeah.
So the Oblivion Rally. I think this came out of. Also, let me preface it by saying this: I am well aware of the issues going on with Wizards, and with the newest box set, which I was super looking forward to, and I bought. Um, I am no longer supporting Wizards of the Coast with my money until they can get their shit together, because that is appalling. And I see far too many people in gaming spaces saying, "I don't get it." It's like, oh, I mean, I can see how you don't get it. It's not
It,
your
it's not your
history.
experience.
Yeah, your lived experience as a people that is being insulted there. So,
But also, I tend to like if a lot of people who have lived that are coming to me and saying, "Hey, this is bad, and here's why." I'm gonna generally be inclined to take them at their word.
mm-hmm.
And also, it's like this thing being in here. Like, if I can't see why it's bad, then why do I? If it doesn't make sense to me why this is bad, then I don't like. Why would I care if you got rid of it? Like, because it's not that good either. Like, it's not like, oh my god, it's just a thing they put in there. It was a bad idea.
Well, the thing is, from what
I
I
don't
go,
know how much
I did a little digging. It's just the second edition stuff. They just didn't rewrite anything.
Oh
Somebody literally just went in there and said, "Okay, we're just going to use the old second edition stuff," which has not aged well.
no, I don't know why you would. I mean, I don't know why nobody caught this. It
Um,
makes no damn sense to me.
yeah, especially seeing as you had the widest audience you've ever had. It's extremely young. It's extreme as far as like it's the youngest demographic of people you've had playing your game, and the most racially diverse. And a lot of the things that you have had in previous books. I mean, let's look at the Vistani and the Curse of Strahd book. They had to go back and rewrite all that because it was extremely insulting to folks of that particular heritage, and it made a lot of people re-examine the fact that certain words are a slur.
Yeah,
And then we're going to work on this, and then they just have made repetitive errors. And I had really hoped with Journey to the Radiant Citadel, which was all done by folks of different backgrounds, non-cis white dudes, did all the adventures in that book, and it's a fantastic book, and it's a fantastic setting. That maybe things were starting to turn, and they'd finally kind of learned their lesson, and then they turn around and put this out right afterwards, and it's just like, what
I
the
mean,
fuck, dude?
I'm a cis white dude, raised in and lived in generally pretty white communities and world spaces, and I looked at that and I said, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
Like, you don't even need to, like, I don't know how you can be immersed in these communities and worlds of just gaming in general, because it's a topic and it has been for a while and it should be. I don't know how you look at this and say, yeah, this is fine.
I'll tell you how. Read the comment section on any post about it.
Well,
There's a echo chamber of folks who they want their gaming space to be very,
oh
very
yeah, and I can
closed off, and they want it to be very white
see that for like the community.
and male.
I can see that in the community, but I don't know how, like, if you're working in this space,
which
how you
which
can that, again,
also it drives me nuts too. It drives me nuts too, because it's like, who at Wizards is making this mistake? Because I really, for the life of me, I can't imagine it's Chris Perkins or Jeremy Crawford, two out gay men who basically run the creative process there now, um, who have always been very strong proponents of very diverse D&D. So who's missing this? Who's making these decisions?
Yeah.
And why do they still have a job? And
Or why
Hasbro,
are they still in charge of, like, why are they still in a position where they can let stuff like this get through? Yeah.
and Hasbro, on top of that, you wanted to keep Wizards. You had a chance to spin Wizards back out into its own company last year, and you said, no. We keep it under our umbrella because the sheer amount of money that they're generating.
Well, and also
Why don't
be able to here's licensing potential. Here's, we can get other people to pay us money for our stuff.
why are you not just ensuring that there is a process involved where DEI is a component that cannot be avoided? And it should never be avoided, but you can't let this shit slip in. That's absolutely horrendous. And the fact on top of it, it's just lazy.
Yeah.
Which makes that product to me in some ways, and I haven't dug deep into it yet, makes me go, did you guys just say, well, the nostalgia is really strong. We know we can sell this. So we're just literally just going to
fuck it. Yeah.
You just throw this book out. It's not even a book. It's a fucking 3 books in a set. It makes me so angry because it's just like, this is what the players wanted. And you had such a chance to turn something like the How to Z into something really interesting. And instead, it's just a fucking racist trope. It's terrible.
Yeah. I don't get it. I don't fucking get it.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
So to finish up, I will still be running some Dungeons and Dragons stuff, not changing any of that. However, probably after this miniseries, this Oblivion Rally, which will be in 5e, probably going to stop running any miniseries with 5e, because if they're really unwilling to do what the bare minimum to be a company that takes into account its entire fan base and just good taste and humanity, I'm just not going to support your shit. And I'm definitely not going to buy anymore. I mean, and that half-ass apology was just gross.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
They put out a public apology and they put out a rata, but it's just like, fuck you, dude. It's too little, too late. You should, I mean, you need to do something far more than that, because I already gave you $60 for these books. And that, even if it is just that one section, that one race in there, it's bullshit. So anyway, and I know it's one thing that's come up in gaming spaces I'm involved in was like, we should be supporting more folks of different of different BIPOC folks and what they're putting out. And one thing that I kind of said to some friends is like, I'm not sure I want to run anything like that, because I also feel like that is very treacherous. I purchased Thirsty Sword Lesbians. That game was amazing, but that game is not something I should really be running or maybe even playing in, because I think I would do it wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I to me, that's a space that I should be like encouraging to exist and giving platform to and cheering on, but maybe it's not for me. And that should be okay to be like, hey, this isn't for me. So I don't know. That's kind of where my head kind of gets stuck in that section. Shannon and I had a conversation about it on this very channel, maybe like 4 or 5 episodes ago. So anyway, Oblivion Rally, very simply put, Orc Mad Max.
There you go.
So here's the truth of the game.
$2
Yeah. Truce of the game. Life is cheap. Win the race at all costs. Kill any and all demons to collect their ichor to power your machines. Venerate your pantheon. Do not suffer the existence of non-orcs.
Okay.
So I'm using the setting of Archeon, or I can't even think how to say it correctly. Archon. An Archon is a really cool outer plane. Did I put nope, did not put those in there. I put them over. Yeah, maybe. Did I? Maybe I didn't. Um, 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 um. Did this not? I'm gonna be real cheesed if this did not do what I wanted it to do. Okay, it did. All right.
Also, Shaggy,
Um,
you're up pretty early for All Out being tonight. Is that tonight?
I think it is.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I'd be asleep still if I was doing that. Glad you're here. If you still,
Yeah.
um,
All right. So here's Archeron. This is what the plane looks like. It's literally floating geometric spaces.
nice.
And they get more and more dangerous the further you go because these spaces, these geometric objects that are the plane, are smashing into one another constantly.
Oh,
It is also known as the Bloody Battlefield. It is where the gods of the orcs and the god of the goblinoids fight a basic never-ending war against one another. So the orcs have a pantheon. Grumsh is the head god of the orcs, and he is also known as Grumsh One Eye. And I hunted down some art because his other eye was stabbed out by the head god of the elves, Corleon Learathon. And Grumsh is not the best dude. You also have Euratris. God, I can't say names today. Who is the orc kind of god of plague. So he's just constantly full of pustules and bubbling grossness. You have yeah. You have Shargrass, who is their like god of stealth. Also usually connected to giant flying bats, which is cool.
yes.
You have Bogtru, and Bogtru. Did I go too far in my? I think I used this as Bogtru. Yep. Who is, I think, savagery. Yeah, brute strength. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Ilnivel, who is the god of war. And then you have my favorite of the orc pantheon, and that's Luthik, who is the venerated mother. I've used Luthik quite often, more than probably any other orc god in games. I find Luthik to be very interesting in the fact that you have this character. Yeah, you've been busy, Shaggy.
Yeah.
I mean, she's an orc, but she's fertility and medicine, and I also find that idea of kind of like this motherly figure interesting. Magliobiet is the god of the goblinoids. So one thing about D&D, the god of the goblinoids is super interesting because he's not a goblin or a bugbear or a hobgoblin. He's something else who conquered and killed their gods and took them over and basically said, oh yeah, you guys literally aren't related, but you're related now, so shut up. And he's just basically a conqueror god, and he's real interesting. Also on this plane are going to be gnolls, and I know Ryan hates for me to bring this up because he plays a gnoll. But gnolls in D&D cosmology, most of them come from this figure, Yingao, the demon prince of gnolls, the beast of butchery, the ruler of ruin, who literally just wants everything to die horribly. He wants to make death and killing into basically art. He is maybe one of my favorite demon princes. So when a gnoll, or excuse me, when a hyena eats other dead hyenas, that hyena will turn into a gnoll, which are basically hyena people.
Yeah.
They'll just kind of fall over and then gnolls burst out of them. So gnolls by default in 5th edition are demons. Which not in every setting. just in default D&D.
I did not know.
And Ryan plays a Gnoll in a game, and is very much that's not his background, because Gnolls in most D&D are just seen as like just pack hunting, savage murderers. Then I'm also using Chuka and Clonk. Chuka and Clonk first showed up in Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus, the big adventure where an entire city is pulled into Avernus, which is the first level of hell. It's also where hell and the abyss meet, so that's where the Blood War starts taking place, because the demons live in the abyss and are of endless number, and the devils live in hell and they are not of endless number. And the demons are chaotic evil and the devils are lawful evil, and they basically are at a never-ending war. It's probably the only reason the rest of the prime material plane isn't conquered.
Yeah.
So Chuka and Clonk are two Kenku who can speak, so they do not communicate through echolalia like most Kenku do. Oh. And they're scavengers all over Avernus who are responsible for scavenging parts and building infernal machines. So infernal machines are like hot rods that run on souls. They can be any size, shape, or form. Something that I think works really well for Descent into Avernus is to power your hot rods, you do have to use these things called soul coins, which you find out are actual souls. So if you want to run your car, you've got to basically destroy souls to do so. I don't dislike that, because I mean, the idea of Descent into Avernus is, in a lot of ways, how far will your characters go to try to do this overwhelming good of pulling the city out of Avernus?
Yeah.
By doing bad things. But I don't want to do that. So there is a alternative to running your vehicles, and that's using Demon Ichor, which is the blood of demons. So that's what I'm doing. Because I don't feel the need also to say all orcs are evil. Because while this pantheon has some definitively evil shit in it, I look at gods as being more diverse than that. Like,
yeah.
I know, like, Marvel did a good job of this with Ares, I think. Ares was a bad guy for a really long time, just a straight up bad guy,
and is again, at least to a degree,
which is dumb. I liked what they did with Ares, turning into basically another version in a lot of ways of Thor. It's as far as like, I'm a god, I do godly stuff. I'm not necessarily evil. I just do war because I'm the god of war. So I just do war.
Well, that's what he's doing now. I mean, I don't know that it's not like it doesn't necessarily feel like he's doing it because, it's just, it's what he's designed for, it's the whole debate about like, well, is Galactus evil?
No. Right. Galactus is a function of the universe.
Right. But he also does awful shit. Not,
Well, it's like saying, is bacteria evil?
Yeah.
It's bacteria. It doesn't have a moral standpoint.
It's doing what it's built to do.
Yeah, I kind of look at Galactus being beyond morality.
Yeah, and that's how they've posited him. So yeah, I'm with you there. I think it's more, like, to have, even to just be like, okay, here's the god of evil, and it's like, well, yeah, but he's evil because that's what he was built to do, Yeah. Like, even like the Christian devil is basically that. It's like, well, yeah, I'm gonna make you be this evil thing.
Yeah. I can't remember who said it, but I completely agree with it. They were talking about oh god, I can't, all of a sudden my brain is not gonna work. Come on, brain. Asmodeus. Asmodeus is the king of hell in D&D. He's not just a devil, he's a god as well, because he killed the god and stole their divine energy. Someone said, Asmodeus is evil. He's lawful evil, but he's also the nicest guy you're ever going to meet. because he can be nice, because it's all, he wants you to join
Yeah,
him. He wants you to believe in him because that's his thing. He doesn't need to scare you or threaten you or anything. He's trying to entice you into that so he can do good things.
yeah,
And I think that's the thing with when I look at gods in D&D sense is like evil gods can do good things because they're playing out games that are thousands of years long. They're playing the
yeah.
long
They
game.
can work. They're working towards stuff that you can't, you
Yeah.
know, fathom, and they're
Yeah.
doing it on a scale that has very little to do with you as an individual.
So I kind of look at that in that respect. And that's why I can look at like, not to mention with Groomsh, like Groomsh has a legitimate beef in my eyes. Corellian Learathon, however you say his last name, the elven deity, which all elves come from, literally from his blood, his spilt blood. He tricked Groomsh. Groomsh and him had no beef, but he stole, or he tricked Groomsh out of Groomsh's land in the
Oh,
multiverse, and that's why they hate each other, and that's hence why elves and orcs despise one another. It's because they're gods that's on site. In some cases, just one-eyed sight. Since
yes,
Groomsh only has one eye now. And that to me makes sense. Like that, it's like, oh, okay. And it also shows like elves are not necessarily all good, and they shouldn't be.
no,
Because again, gods serve purposes as ideas. I also like the idea that a god only looks how you see that god. They don't necessarily all look the same to every single person, and they shouldn't. Um, so anyway, that's kind of this idea. And the reason I have these in here is because the players will have to pick a god, one of the orc pantheon, that is basically their patron,
okay,
and each one will have little sub missions within, like secret missions. Um, so like for Yurtris, it might be because Yurtris has beef with Bogtrue. It might be like, hey, make sure if there's a champion of Bogtrue in your group that they don't make it back. Things like that, or just some type of overall message that should be kind of part of the core of who that character is. So then we get into who lives in Archeon and would have potential to be involved in this race. Well, the first is the Mercy Killers. And the Mercy Killers are actually from the plane of Sigil, the spot in the middle of the multiverse, which is full of factions. And the factions are built upon ideas. And the Mercy Killers' ideas are very simple. It's like every law, no matter how unfair, must be followed, and you punish the weak. And their home base of operations is on this plane. So the idea of them being involved in this race and being like basically the people who ensure they're basically the fuzz. They want to win, but they're there more to enforce the rules. My thought is there isn't any. So they're kind of making the rules up as they go.
so that's I mean so that I do like that as a if they're doing that, and then so how rigid are they with this stuff? So it's like if they're
They're
making
they're absolutists.
so they're they're making this up as they go. Does that mean that once they've decided something, now they're stuck with that, even if
Yes.
later on they're like, oh shit?
So I'm going to say that each of their vehicles has a litany carved into it, which is the one rule that they are enforcing.
And Shaggy is
It-
asking, can they be bribed?
no,
No.
no. So if you're a mercy killer who's bribed, you will be hunted down by other mercy killers. And
Okay.
and mercy killers in some ways are almost like bounty hunters in Star Wars. They will follow you to the ends of the multiverse. And they don't care who you are. Like, let's say they don't generally hunt deities or even demigods because that's a little beyond their purview, but they have been known to do that. They'll just come in great number. The whole thing about Sigil is it's literally the center of the multiverse. Gods can't come into it. They're kept out by this thing called the Lady of Pain, who is actually as powerful or even maybe more powerful than gods. But like devils, demons, angels, they can all go into Sigil. And that's where there's like, no, you can't bring your bullshit into Sigil. So there's no blood war in Sigil. So you can have demons and devils sit down and have coffee together, even though there's this massive multiversal war going on between their two kinds, where they can go, oh, remember that time I burned your entire family alive? Yes, I do. So
Now,
Sigil's this amazing place, and there's these factals inside Sigil, and they each like have a very stringent belief. And they adhere to it because that's what gives them power. So if they stop believing in this, they lose power. Not just like political power, but they lose actually their manifest powers start to go
physical.
away. Yeah. Like there's a group called the Godsmen, and they believe that gods aren't real. You're your own god.
Okay.
There's a group called the Dustmen or the Dead, and they take care of all the dead. And their thing is like, undeath is just another form of being dead. So you're not special, you're just dead. And death is like the step to the next journey. So we should be shepherding the dead along.
Can the Mercy Killers be rules lawyered?
Yes.
Okay.
But it's very hard to do because the Mercy Killers aren't judges. Because there's another group that act as judges, as arbitrators. The Mercy Killers are the cops.
Okay.
And that's what makes them difficult to deal with.
Yeah.
The factions in Sigil are absolutely amazing because in a Planescape game, which apparently we're going to get Planescape at some point, I don't know if I'll be buying it unless they get their shit together. You can petition to join factions, and it means something to join factions. It's like when we started playing Down in Outlands, we started in Sigil. And Sigil's cool because it's a city that's constantly being built and rebuilt, and it's a giant donut shaped, and like you can look up and there's more city above you. Like it's just a cool thing. I highly recommend anyone looking into it because it's just fucking great. So yeah, we can come back to that. There's, like I said, this is kind of brainstorming session. Knowles, I talked about Knowles earlier. There's Knowles in this race because they want to be in. They just want to be a part of the carnage. Knowles just want to watch the world burn. Kind of look at Knowles as a more nihilistic version of the bad guys in Fury Road, the Witness Me guys. I can't think of their name now, but just that idea of like
the War Boys, yeah.
The War Boys, yeah, they are just like, this is what they're built for. Hobgoblins. So this is where it gets more complex. Hobgoblins, goblins, and bugbears all venerate Megaliaboot. And they're all called goblinoids, but they are all different. They are actually not members of the same race. Hobgoblins are very smart. They're very militaristic. There's kind of a almost feudal samurai vibe to them in some ways.
Okay.
They're also considered lawful evil, which I'm like, to me, their version of lawful evil is more, rather than just being evil, it's more just like absolute rulership. Which again, I also kind of look at feudal Japan in that respect. It's like pay your respects to the shogun, or there will be significant consequence. And that's more how I choose to look at them. It's just they rule in absolutes. Everything answers upward. So I kind of want to keep them out of the like. Again, it's hard to stay out of. The further you go into like planar shit in D&D, the more it gets boiled down and things get boiled down into like alignment stuff. I kind of want to try to avoid that because I'm not big on that anymore. So I'm thinking they are more in the realm of that kind of not honorable but coded.
Okay.
We'll come back to goblins. I look at as being more like anything goes.
Okay.
Their vehicles should look like cobbled together insanity. They are, because they're small, they're all about number. You know, a goblin, it should be like 5 goblins to every hobgoblin and 10 goblins to every bugbear, because goblins get mistreated. They get shit on. I also have always loved the idea of goblins as inventors. They think if they win, if they win the race, they'll win. I can never remember how to spell Magliaboot because it's a nonsense word.
Yes.
I also kind of look at the 3 goblinoid races as like constantly fighting for stepdad's attention.
Yeah.
So bugbears are the most physically dangerous of the goblinoid races. They're kind of very Wookiee-ish that way, except for they're also very lazy. Bugbears are by far the just lazy as fuck. They're also big, dangerous monsters that rely on stealth. Bugbears really don't want to come out and get into a big axe swinging fight with you because they could get hurt. Also, it takes a lot of energy to do that, and they just want to go back to their hovel. They are known as being very stealthy, like murderers. They will. One of their favorite weapons is a garrote, because they're so big. If they get you with the garrote, you're dead. You know, they'll just pick you up and twist your head off. So I kind of want to play into that stealthiness. Kind of like what we think T-Rexes might have been like. Like their carrion hunters are like, oh, you guys killed this. You killed this thing. All right, well, I'm just going to show up and I'm going to take it.
It also seems like, again, I mean, they're lazy, so it wouldn't necessarily be like the work to put in the work without any necessary reward. But that seems like, at least in this environment, that they would be doing like traps.
Oh, I like that.
Because it's like, oh, if there's a route for this race or whatever, it's like, cool, let's just build a pit, or have some fucking Ewok log shit that comes down or whatever, so that we can just, it's like, cool, we'll just sit back, this will work or it doesn't, and then when it does, we can pop in and take whatever we're after.
So I think the idea of the race is that these two groups, and you can throw in Yin Gao and even the Mercy Killers a little bit, and then just demons and the like, are fighting for control constantly. I kind of look at this as like a we're on a truce for this race, and something, the gods or the demon prince or whoever it may be, heads of the Mercy Killers, they will get some prize, some type of boon from the others, whoever wins the race.
Okay.
The next are demons. In D&D, demons are literally just chaotic, evil engines of destruction, and it doesn't have to be like destruction of your physical form. It can be of damnation. It can be of your principles. It can be of your beliefs. They just want to see you fail. That's what they, I mean, that's really what they are. They don't really care about your corruption. I mean, it can come down to that, which is cool to them. I always look at that as more like the devil's purviews. Devils want to see you like join their side.
Yeah.
Demons want to see you fall so hard that that's all you have left is their side. So I'm looking at this more as just like, I keep trying to also think about this in a slightly wacky racers format.
Yeah.
Which is weird, but also kind of fun.
Yeah, I don't think that's wrong.
So to me, this is pure chaos, which makes demons and gnolls in an interesting kind of coexistence.
Yeah.
Because technically gnolls are demons.
Yeah.
It's just their purview is just death and carnage. And so I have grabbed these two, because that also is going to play into that. And we're going to grab you too, since you also play into this part. Okay. This is the thing, though. I'm thinking I might like do a little bit deeper dive and try to figure out what demons to use, because there's just tons and tons of demons. I think our Tanaruk's demons. Because if they're demons, that would be perfect. Yes, they are. So the Tanaruk is a demonic orc.
Oh.
So they're an orc who has been bred with demons. I kind of look at the Tanaruk as, and I don't know if I'm even saying that correctly, as the Warhammer orcs who talk like Cockney football hooligans. Although I use that a lot of time for a lot of orcs. But they should be pure chaos. They're just yeah, we're just going to leave it at that. I can't really think about how I would want to word that differently, or the kind of the idea. Because the whole thing is, I don't want these two things to kind of run the same path. So ghouls. Ghouls are undead. Ghouls are these things that eat the flesh of the dead, and sometimes the flesh of the living. So the reason ghouls would be in this category is because the prince of ghouls is this thing called Dorsane. And Dorsane used to serve Orcus, who's the demon prince of undeath. However, Yin Gao basically said, oh, no, you serve me now. So, and for whatever reason, Orcus, who is one of the nastier of all demon princes, was like, I don't give a shit. Which is weird, because generally demon princes are looking to fight one another at the drop of a hat. So the ghouls kind of serve Yin Gao, because Dorsane kind of serves Yin Gao. So my kind of thought is here they want to win because this elevates Dorsane, who then can maybe even leave the service of Yin Gao, which I think would be really difficult because I think in that respect it would just mean that Yin Gao and Dorsane would fight. And while Yin Gao is on the top of the food chain of demon princes like Orcus or Demogorgon, he's higher on the demon food chain than Dorsane. Ghouls have this really neat thing where if they scratch you, they can paralyze you, and then they can just eat you while you're still alive. Also, if you get killed by a ghoul, you become a ghoul.
Oh, there you go.
The cool thing about that is it doesn't work on elves because, if I remember correctly, Corian Learnthon saved Dorsane at one point. So Dorsane owed Corellian a boon, and it was that ghoul touch will never harm an elf, which is just weird to me, but it's also kind of cool. Yugoloths.
I'll be right back. I gotta check the door here. I'll be right back.
Oh, Matt's got visitors. Shaggy, you're at all out tonight. Any predictions? No, Landshark is a boule, which is what we're using in. I have mentioned in Chaos Scar that there is a massive boule named Old Gem Crust, which I'm hoping that at some point one group of players is like, I want to hunt Old Gem Crust. Well, because I want to make sure they understand that Old Gem Crust is going to murder them. Oh man, we'll wait for Matt. But I had coffee this morning. I just finished drinking a little bit ago, and it actually made me more tired. Oh, Landshark, yeah, that's Candygram. Fair, it's fair. Oh my goodness. Oh, I got this cool head in the mail. Sven Ole Olafsson from Conan.
Oh yeah, nice. I skipped those, but man, those were so good.
Yeah, I just wanted the heads. By the way, man, I was going to ask you, do you have a recommendation for arms? Because I know his arms are generally brown.
Yeah.
But I kind of like Muscle Wizard.
I don't mind that either.
It's like, hey, brother, I got some knowledge for you, brother.
I
don't
know how they. I think the classics arms are quite a bit chonkier.
Also,
nice. And I just, I had to pee, and then Danny is getting a package delivered, but she's at the gym, so.
Oh.
Dog barking. So I wanted to make sure that I checked because I had a package get jacked yesterday.
What?
So I'm pissed about that because it's the first time it's ever happened here.
Oh, a couple years ago, I had a package get jacked from Miniature Market that had like $200+ stuff in it. And I was like, who jacked this package? I'm sure they opened it and they were like, what the fuck is all this nerdy stuff?
Yeah. Actually,
also, this might be one of my new favorite figures.
Oh, yeah. I'd eyed that and never pulled the trigger on it, but it's a fun design.
This design is absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, I still haven't watched the show. I've heard really good things about it though. But this redesign in Orko is just gleeful. It's like I showed it to Cassandra and she was like, okay, that's amazing. I was like, yeah, he's just he's happy looking. Like he's winking at you. He's still got a wizard vibe. I wish he had a little more articulation.
Yeah.
But
Honestly, man, I'm gonna see what I can do for you because I feel like, and I think you gave me an
I
Eldor.
I don't know if I did or not.
I have an Eldor in my parts somehow, so I have Eldor arms.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't know much on how I would take. I'm not familiar enough with the classics for parts.
it'll take some work, but if you want, I could make you some Origins compatible Eldor arms out of copper.
I would love them because I just used the legs of a Stratos
Mm-hmm.
and just some brown boots to do the other parts of it.
My concern initially was scale, but they're really close.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
Yeah, that's totally doable.
Oh,
I will take a crack at that for you.
I don't have bodies for you, but I got some heads.
Yeah, that's all good.
Here, I'll show you what I got. I've started putting in your bag. I thought this would be bigger. It's not, but it's cool. I wish it was. It's the T'Challa head.
Oh,
I got this thinking it would be very functional for what I wanted to do. It's not.
oh yeah,
It's super cool though.
it is. I've got
And
that.
then I'm keeping the helmet, but this is for you.
Which one is that now?
It's the Death Adder from.
Oh yeah.
The helmet actually fits on Andre's head.
Oh, that's awesome.
He looks kind of badass with it.
Oh, I'm sure.
So yeah, and then I'm starting to work on this too because I finally got the body for it.
Oh, nice.
Which is just like a mass, or like almost like a. It just goes together like the old classic stuff does.
Yeah.
I just got to heat it up and stretch it out a little bit.
Nice.
So yeah. Anyway, let's wrap this part up, and then we'll probably call it because I'm sure you got stuff going on, and you got to want to make sure you get this package.
I just don't want. Yeah, I mean,
Oh, by the way, did I show you these?
I'm out $70 or whatever the fuck it was. So I can't remember if you did or not. Those are great though.
Yeah. Migueldor, Misty Mountain Customs. Yeah, it's a man at arms with and without helmet. He did these as a 2-for-1.
Oh, nice.
So you got both heads for like $10, which is wild to me. His stuff is so good. I thoroughly enjoy, and I cannot recommend his stuff enough. If you are working on Masters custom stuff, regardless of scale, definitely check him out. Super nice guy. He does feet and shin pads and hands and heads and some body armor. He does a little bit of everything. And I know he's working with flexible resin. So it's like you can actually move it rather than it being stiff. That's going to be fucking cool when he finally figures it out. All right. Yugoloths. If demons are chaotic evil and devils are lawful evil, Yugoloths are neutral evil, and they are the paid mercenaries in the Blood War. They're like they're super evil, and they're just like, hey man, we'll fight for whoever pays us the most. I love Yugoloths because they're so weird. There's a Yugoloth called a Mesoloth that looks like a giant. It reminds me a little bit of oh shit, all of a sudden I can't remember the insect guy from Planet Hulk. Tick.
It's shit because it's in the movies now too.
Yeah, I can't remember what his name is, but when he gets his upgraded form in World War Hulk, they kind of look like that. Except they're really big and they have a like a corrosive breath attack. And they carry like big tridents in their 6 arms. They're just cool looking. They're called Mesoloths, and I want to use Yugoloths for that reason. That they're just in it for the cash. So if they win, they'll give the prize to whoever pays them the most.
Meek.
Ah.
They wasted Meek in Love and Thunder, which is a shame because you do get to see Meek, and she's wearing like a business suit because she's part of the administration in New Asgard now. But and it was great, but she's barely in it.
Bladelings I don't know as much about, so let's
Yeah,
grab the right. I think they were like a 3rd edition thing. So let's see what we can find out about Bladelings. They're humanoids, 6 feet tall, covered in sharp metallic spines, and bluish tinged skin. They are, looks like much like D&D or evil races, they're xenophobic. So that's kind of what they look like. Xenophobic beings have humanoid shape. They hail from Archeron. Most scholars believe the race emerged from another plane, possibly of the 9 hells, called Baator, the bleak eternity of Gehenna, or some other metal-based plane.
interesting.
I want to know like what their deal is, though. Like that's cool. That's like stat stuff.
Sure.
They're magical beings, apparently. They were once rumored to be tieflings. Interesting. Well, since it's my game,
Yeah,
I'm going to say they are
like
they are an offshoot of tieflings.
doesn't really seem like they've got like a huge, you know, they just kind of exist. And if you
So we need a who is a D&D 5e fiend of metal. I know there's a devil of metal. I think is it this?
um
There's one that's like called the Iron Lord.
okay, well this says some of them lean, they don't all worship gods. Those that do tend to lean towards Hextor, Tempest, or other gods of war.
I'm thinking more of their bloodline.
Right.
Dispater. He is the Iron Lord. Dispater, the Iron Lord. They live on. How do I spell Archeon? I can't even remember anymore. Yeah, it seems like they're not. It's Archron. I can't say that, and I can't figure out how it's supposed to be said.
I think it's Atron or Acheron or
I just literally looked at it and messed it up.
Yeah.
So we're gonna say they're fighting for independent power. That they're more like stuck in this never-ending cycle of war. And it's not that they don't like it; they're just like, but they also are like, we want to not be, we want our. Oh, you know what? Let's get something interesting here. What's a good name? Like a really solid name.
For a bladeling?
Sure.
Or just a name?
I mean, I don't know if they have like very specific names or not.
I mean, who knows? It's the internet. They just, yeah.
No.
Hmm. Oh, okay.
Now, whatever this prize is, this leader thinks they can make themselves a demigod using that. So let's see, is there D&D Bladeling names? Amnon, Kemen, Mordai, Therai, Acta, Callista, Makari, Rita. Oh, I kind of like Callista, and I like Amnon a lot.
So I'm just because whatever, it's how you do it. It looks, at least according to Google here, if you translate razor into Greek, it's Xyrafi or Xyrafi, Xyrafi.
Okay, say it again slowly for
I'll
my.
just put it in the private chat here. Oh, that's not what I want to put in there. That's a totally unrelated thing. Copy. I mean, I have no idea how you pronounce that, but boop, there you go.
I like the husky holes.
The husky holes are cute. Yes.
Come on, Ben, use your brain. Matt, how do you put the little mark above letters?
That I have no clue.
Neither do I.
You don't need it.
Bugs me when I can't do that. Okay. That's perfect. That to me is super cool. That gives the Bladelings actually a reason to be there.
Yeah.
So I also think like with the Tanaruk, I kind of want to use them as an obstacle rather than like a reason.
Yeah.
The Knolls are like more like an obstacle.
When I was looking at D&D demons, I also noticed, where was it now? Just because it sounded good for a race. The Ammonites.
Oh, I can't remember who the Ammonites are.
Centaur demons that were absolute war machines. They attack with hooves, claws, their serrated tails, and shot lightning from their hands.
I'll say it looks super cool.
Because that seems like okay, if you're running a race, like centaurs don't need a vehicle necessarily, depending on how fast your vehicles are, I guess.
Like herds of Ammonites. I do want to have Tanaruks inside like vehicles though.
Yeah.
Because I do want to use them as like the Warhammery orcs.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I was hoping there was some sort of demon that would allow you to do like some Marvel Inferno shit where it's like, here's just a demon that possessed a car.
That would be awesome.
Or some sort of creature that has become a vehicle.
I have become Car.
Yeah.
I am Car, destroyer of worlds.
Yeah, because I love that bit with Inferno where it's like, yeah, this mailbox is a demon now. This subway train is a giant worm. This
It's fair.
This lamppost is a snake. Demon.
Matt, how familiar are you with Modrons?
I'm gonna Google them right now, but
Modrons are one of my favorite things in Dungeons and Dragons. They're little geometrically shaped things from the plane of Mechanus, which is like absolute order and law. But sometimes Modrons get lost. And when Modrons get lost, they become rogue Modrons. So they're named for their size, and based on that size and shape, that's how many tasks they can do. So like a Monodron can only do one thing. whereas a duodron can do 2, and on and on and on. So we're gonna have some rogue modrons. They are also originally came out of Planescape, and that's why they have just this bizarre, fun look. Also, like every 246 years, some weird number like that, there's this thing called the Great Modron March, where the Modrons just march across the multiverse. And God help anyone who or anything that gets in their way while they march for no discernible reason.
Somebody, the highest one decided.
And then 2 more left. I was just looking at things that live on. I'm gonna have to figure out how to say the word if I'm going to use it. Archeon? Archeon? Is that how we say it?
It looks like Archon.
Archon.
Archeron. No way.
We could say it like the Marvel character Archon.
Yeah, I mean, Archon's awesome.
I do love me some Archon. I wish they did more with him.
Well, he pops up every now and then and is
confused. I picked up the weird
Acheron.
Okay.
Acheron.
Rust Dragons.
That's how I would say that if I was going to.
So Rust Dragons.
Who don't like who the Bladelings don't like.
Well, because their breath weapon is rust. Which makes them incredibly dangerous in a race with metal cars.
Yeah. So my curious. So I do like one if you've got it's because it's not a suicide thing for the Bladelings because they can explode like the DC villain Shrapnel.
Yep.
But if they also have like metal skin, can they like weld shit to themselves?
Yeah, I'm thinking so. To me, in my head, these racers who are chosen are more like the horsemen in Mandy, the Black Riders. So I mean, this Rust Drag. I mean, it may be dragons or maybe one dragon. I haven't decided yet. Is an obstacle that's just like, oh, you've just brought me the tastiest Uber Eats vehicles of all time. Also, I need the demons there to be fuel.
Yeah.
Last but not least are Rakshasas. Matt, what do you know about Rakshasas?
Nothing.
They're amazing. They're tiger people with backwards hands.
All right.
And they're known for basically being very stealthy, very smart. They're also in that kind of D&D demonic area. They're very dangerous opponents. They're duplicitous. So my idea with the Rakshasa is they're not directly involved in the race.
Okay.
But maybe they're pulling the strings of multiple groups.
Yeah, it seems like their deal would, kind of be like either they're helping to like organize this race because they want to.
Oh, that's even better. That's better.
Like, show off how cool they are and whatever, and then also to benefit themselves on some level because they seem pretty manipulative.
I don't know if they're considered Yugoloths or not, but they may very well be.
Let's see, they're fiends apparently. Yeah, they're definitely like, I'm gonna just fuck with you for the pleasure of fucking with you.
Yeah. Um.
Okay, so on Acheron, there was different clans that would kidnap petitioners and planeswalkers through as slaves and attempt to impress the Maharaja that ruled over every Rakshasa on the plane. So there might be some overarching.
I kind of look at it as there's some overarching like politicking going on from the
Yeah.
Rakshasas. Maybe there's some type of
Let's see here.
Maharaj. I can't remember how to spell that. Mahu. Oh, probably help if I was in the right page. So come on, Ben, learn to type. Let's figure out what this thing is, this prize. Good artifact of great power.
Yeah, let's see.
Or if you can think of something cool from just anything we can kind of riff off of.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of something that would be like Oh, I got an idea. What if it's the tear of a primordial from the Dawn War, and it's rumored that if it's drank, it will basically take the person and the individual that drinks it will gain that primordial's power. The primordials were kind of like the titans of Greek myth,
I mean,
except for
would be something everybody would be.
So we got to think of a good.
After, I would think, yeah.
Got to think of a good name for it.
Let's see here.
They're like elemental forces.
Well, let's see for.
Oh, Asgorath, the World Shaper. That might work. I kind of like that. I like the idea of it's the world. It's a tier of the World Shaper.
Yeah, let's see here. So Latin.
Oh, lost map. Mono. There he is.
Yeah, I don't know what happened here. I clicked the wrong thing or something. But that's Latin for tier. Otherwise,
what was Latin for tier?
I dropped it in the chat. Otherwise, I mean, you could just use like, if you've got like a god's name or something, you could be called like the grief of such and such.
The grief. I love that. The grief of Asgorath, the World Shaper. So, perfect. And then, of course, there's the chance it doesn't really exist.
Of course.
Let's think of a good dragon name for our Rust Dragon.
All right.
Yeah, I'm not sure about Mox and Punk either. I'm really kind of I don't know what to think about that whole thing. Which is probably good wrestling when you don't know what's real or what's not.
All right, this seems like a good dragon name.
Ooh, Verdigris.
Yeah.
I like it.
And he even,
Can I put a T on that? Vertigrist.
Sure. Yeah, I don't think that's a bad way to go. But yeah, I like that it's got a description built into it for
Yeah.
what it looks like.
Yeah, I kind of like the idea too of Vertigrist just just chilling, flying around, looking for food. We'll have to brainstorm maybe what like who would do Vertigrist's voice. I was kind of trying to figure out why the Modrons would be doing the Modrons. Why they would be on.
We don't really know what drives the Modrons other than that.
Yeah, no one really knows. That's the thing. Like, part of me desperately wants to know why they would be there.
Yeah, let's see here. I'm trying to Modrons. I mean, they're really into order. They don't like chaos and they don't like entropy.
Sure.
So there's just a whole lot of shit here that I don't think they'd be into. Are they working with the Mercy Killers in some capacity?
I don't think. I think they're just kind of independent of them.
Because their goals seem somewhat aligned, but not at all the same. Like the Modrons don't like chaos, whereas the Mercy Killers don't care. They're just here to enforce the rules.
Yeah. Maybe the Modrons know that that the grief is real. They want it to ascend,
Or even just to keep,
even that statistic, or even that statistically, it's more likely to be real.
Yeah, I think I like that, and then because they're basically everybody else going after this shit is only going to use it to make to fuck shit up, and they don't want that. So get it if it's if they win, they can control what gets done with it, even if that's just okay. We're gonna just dump it out into the void so that nobody can use this.
So I looked up like what are good hobgoblin names. The first one that pops up is Roderick Kingsley.
What's she gonna do with those hobgoblins?
Yeah, hobgoblins. Hobgoblin. A good clan name. All right. Um, I think we're good. We went for quite a while. All I keep in my head is with the goblins is that they like their vehicle actually has like troll hounds on like a wheel
Oh,
inside of it somewhere with just like giant sticks of like dangling meat in front of them.
nice. Yeah, that would be good.
Also, I do like the last Baldur's Gate game did a really good job of like voicing the goblins so they didn't all sound like a Schmeagol ripoff.
Oh, yeah, you know.
Instead, they kind of had their own like. They also were kind of like Cockney a little bit, and I do enjoy that as well. Like this weird kind of like, oh, these dudes are just super fun. All right, well, I think we got a lot done, and I already have the truths of the game done, so it's just down to kind of hammering through some additional items and trying to figure out how this is going to work. But I hope for the the one unfortunate soul who stuck around with us today, Shaggy. It was fun. I can't say that it was, but I hope you had fun. I hope you have a really good time at All Out tonight.
Hell yeah.
Should be a burner. And as always, thank you to Magnificent Matt Lind, the Magnificent One. Matt, what do you got going on?
Tuesday I'll be on Tiny Mang. I think you're back this week as well. And then I think Wednesday we've got more Star Wars. So gonna be
this Wednesday might be the wrap up.
Ooh, all right. So yeah, that's my week. And then back here probably next Sunday. So otherwise, yeah, just floating along. So
Yeah, I this week is my easier week, so I don't have much going on. I got Tuesday Tiny Mang and Friday. Whoa, that was weird. That was awesome. Friday, Bad at Games, which I did do Bad at Games last week. Just forgot to actually go on,
podcast it.
which is sad because I had my best game of carrion ever.
Well, see, that's why it just
I was so mad. I was like, oh God, how did I miss this? I ran the video and everything.
Absolutely, Shaggy. Yes. Yeah, like they had on the last issue of the Marvel Transformers run, issue 80 of a 4-issue limited series.
So, yep, but I really appreciate it, and we'll see you Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday.
Woo, Tuesday.
On Kill Turn Radio for Tiny Mang.
Yeah, enjoy your holiday.
Oh yeah, if you're observing it, or I'm going to work.
You just have it off, yeah. Or if you do have to work, thank you.
Don't have to work, just going to work. What else am I going to do? All right, you sexy binks. Bye.